they create all the emotions. Okay, you have an emotional connect to that, and the stronger the emotion with the story, the stronger is the memory retention that we have. You remember, you look back at your own life and you try to recall any very critical juncture of your life. Okay, it would be something something very emotional happened to you. Okay, so you felt very emotional about it, whether it was it's a marriage, it is a new job, it was the first job, it was the first sale, it was buying your first car, house, whatever. Something with a very strong emotional connect. You probably don't remember the day your bank balance crossed a certain amount, but if there was an emotional connect to that, the emotion you'll remember. So stories create emotions and they give that connect, and emotions build memories. Where does the business come into all of this? The business comes into all of this is because every buying decision is an emotional one. You don't buy based on logic. Okay. You may be presented with two products which are priced the same, and you'll say, I will buy from this vendor and not from that vendor. Emotional, illogical. You probably even say, go to the extent of saying, I'll pay 500 rupees more and buy from that guy, but I'll never go into this guy's shop. Yeah. But that's not logic. Logically speaking, you should get the most bang for your buck and you should buy the best product, at the cheapest possible rate if both the products are the same. But that's not how you think. That's not how we think. We are emotional people, and that's why the emotion part is very strong, and that's why it affects the business, right? If you see some of the really, really iconic emotional the ads that have really touched us emotionally, and the two of them which I put up on screen is the ones that are the ones which are really, really good. Apple had this one, here's to the crazy ones. It's an iconic ad, and if you haven't seen that, please head over to YouTube. Hey, not now, after the program. Okay, head over to YouTube and watch that ad. There's also Google, which did a very good one on Parisian love, and it was just a journey of very beautifully done, no visuals, nothing, just the Google search bar being used over and over again, and it actually takes you through, a beautiful story, so, and that's something that people will remember when they want to do something else, right? Everything that is a story, everything that you do, because it has to be an emotion, a good story will give a human character to the brand. Okay. We want to talk to humans, and I always am a big fan of this dialogue, which I make sure I repeat in every workshop of mine. Please remember, people buy from people whom they believe they can trust. Okay. When you're selling to a person. The person may be from an organization. You're selling to the organization, but if you don't get past the person you're talking to, you'll never be able to sell to the organization. So you have to connect. I mean, if Indigo or Air India has to, decide between buying a Boeing or an Airbus, there is a team of people in Indigo or Air India talking to the team of people in Boeing and Airbus. And sure, they have a list of specifications. Sure, they've been given corporate guidelines. But if those people don't see eye to eye for whatever reason, they don't gel, they don't mix around, they don't get the right connect, the deal is going someplace else, right? So don't forget that. For crying out loud, even our robots and artificial intelligence virtual assistants, we want them to sound and look human. Okay, so that's how badly we crave, the human connect and the human aspect of anything that we do. So now that we know, why stories are important and what, how they are so critical, what are the types of stories that brands and companies can come up with? Okay, so there are lots of different types of stories, and you can have a customer journey. You make a story about your customer. There was a customer that was using this type of product or had this type of challenge, and found this other product, of course ours. Okay, found this product, and therefore this is how it was a great exciting event for the customer. So there could be a story of a customer journey. There could be a story of the company legacy. The company was founded, 150 years back, and it's seen the industry change over the years, and how they've pivoted and, adopted technology and gone, into diverse different. It could be a company legacy. It could be something informative. You have some information, maybe, scientific information. You have some data which you shared. You can share data about your customers, about the trends that you see. You could make a story about that if you're an industry expert and you've been there long enough. You have a product which is seasonal, you talk about the weather, you talk about the rains, you talk about the mangoes, you talk about, the Christmas, you talk about, Diwali and Holi, and, you can make a story on that. it could also be the founder's journey, So it could be like, they started off in a garage and, now still look where they're sitting and, in Silicon Valley and, these people, they got thrown out and somebody refused to buy somebody else's product and they refused to sell out. And eventually it was a multi-billion-dollar sale, or somebody started off selling tea and now look where the gentleman is. And, it could be anything, it's a founder's journey. That's also a story. You make these stories so people remember the story much better than you remember the feature or the benefit. And unfortunately, a vast majority of companies are only focusing on the feature benefit story. Here is a feature and this is great for you. This is my washing machine. It has a spin cycle which dries things also. Everybody's talking about the feature and benefit, and nobody's trying to explore the other types of stories that you can actually do that. And that's something that, you really, really need to look at. Because if you don't do that, you're actually letting go of a very, very big opportunity of trying to get that emotional connect with your target audience, right? So there is enough of scientific research that has shown. I mean, they've done functional MRIs also, and they've connected parts of the brain of people, and they've shown them different brands, and they've asked them to, select, and they've shown them data also. And what they've noticed is that when people are selecting, exercising certain choices, making decisions, it's the emotional parts of the brain that light up. Okay, the ones which are in charge of personal feelings and experiences, those are the ones that light up. The ones which are in charge of, or responsible for data or information, like a brand attribute or a feature or a fact, that actually is dimmed, and it's the other one. So research has shown that it's the emotional connect that you will have with the product, which is what will make, you stand out, right? So we saw the why. Okay, we saw the what of the stories, and finally we come to how. And I always keep saying this, that no matter what type of products you have, you need not have the best product in the world. You probably will not be the only person to come out with the same product. Technology has gone so far ahead that the first mover advantage is actually very, very small right now. In the good old days, it used to be very large, but technology has, and availability and access to technology has flattened that for everyone. If somebody comes out with a particular feature, in the next 3 months, everybody else will know how to come out with that feature. ChatGPT, Bard, you saw what happened. So all of that is there. So it is how you do it, how you make it different for your customer is why they will end up coming to you. Okay. So it's not the what, and you can have a great why, why is the reason that you started your business, but the customer may not really come to you for that unless it's a great experience for them too. Okay. Finally, it comes to how, and here's where I do the shameless pitch. Okay. So, with all the background of business that I have and the understanding of behavior, and of course, with the great talent which is in Shagun's team as far as the branding and creative is concerned, what we actually do is we're sitting right at the intersection of the 3 B's. So it's the behavior, the branding, and the business. And that's something we can really, really do effectively. End of shameless pitch. More time to discuss what challenges you have. If you need to reach out to me, okay, so that's where you can connect with the Satori Studio as a company. You can follow it wherever it is, and that's my number and email ID. If you need any help, I'm on WhatsApp. I have the same number. Okay, so there are no 2 numbers. I can barely manage one, but that's what it is. So that's it from me. Dinakar, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity once again, and I'm going to stop sharing this. So we have more time.
Thank you so much.
We have more time to
Sandeep.
discuss.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. It was really very quick and crisp and extremely powerful. Really hit the core. See, before we really start discussing with everybody, I have a fundamental question. See, if you look at today's startups, most of the startups are in the space of information technology or fintech, infotech, or some kind of an aggregation, which is some kind of a back-end solution which would enthuse customers, enthuse the people in using such services. So what kind of stories do you think they can come up with? Companies who are, for example, in the space of fintech, who are trying to make an app for giving loans or an app to make sure that the EMIs are managed better, such cases.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like I said, so you will probably not be, there will be very few areas and very few companies who will be in this, kind of a monopolistic situation. Okay, as far as everybody else is concerned, you will probably already have, I mean, when, for instance, when Grow came up as an app, or Zerodha came up as an app, it's not that it was not available, the features and facilities were not available. It was there, but it was being done differently. Okay, so Grow came up and said, I'll do it like this, and Zerodha said, I will do it like this, and Angel One said, Angel Broking said, then eventually they became Angel One, and they came out and said, we'll do it this differently, and ICICI has their own app, and and ET Money is there, and there will be many more that will come, because everyone will come in and try to bring a different manner in which they do it. I mean, if Ola was there and then Uber came up and then Ride Alley came and then Rapido tried to do it a little differently and somebody else, and this thing will keep happening. If you have Farm Easy came up, and you will have a lot of others who will come up. PhonePe comes and Paytm comes and PayU Money comes, and so you will have all these things which fundamentally will seek to do like either manage money or buy stuff or manage money or things like that. But at the end of the day, how they do it differently. How easy it? I'll give you an example. Okay, so there are many of these grocery shopping apps. Big Basket is there, and DMart is there, and Swiggy, Instamart is there, and there's a small difference. So Swiggy, Instamart, for instance, when you go to make a payment, right? Now everyone knows that you have to punch in your OTP, and the OTP comes, and then and then you hit go for it. The Swiggy, Instamart, they did it a little differently. So they still allow you to either approve or not approve. But what they do is they say, it's by default and approve. If you want to stop it, press here. Okay. So what happens is it's making it a little more easier. In the other app, I have to say punch in the number and then punch in yes.
Yeah.
Okay. With Swiggy, Instamart, I have to punch in the number, and then if I don't punch in stop, it'll just go through.
It'll go
through. So
correct.
it's one step easier.
So that itself can be a story, is what you say. That
yes. It's a very small thing. But if you are doing it regularly, it saves you a lot of time and effort.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's what it is. So like I say, so you will find that the differentiator is not primarily in the what. There will be some differentiators in the what, but it is in the how. Even if it is in the how, you talk about the what.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. LK, go ahead, please. Sagar had raised it. I think I'll get back here. He's lowered the arm. So LK, please go ahead.
Yeah, Sandeep. So really, really good information. You made it very crisp. I have a question which is based on one of the points you mentioned is behavior, branding, and business. I think 3 Bs you mentioned, right? So if I'm looking at the startup founder perspective, can you please elaborate all these 3 points? Like, I am a founder, I have a startup, I'm doing some business, I'm at some stage, maybe I'm at the customer, I'm selling. Let's say my product is ready, I'm selling, I'm making some money, but I want to grow now. So on these 3 keywords which you mentioned, how this subject is related, I'm a bit confused. I mean, is it like branding story or story to tell business or story about behavior? I'm not able to understand this point. Can you please elaborate?
Sure. Actually, we were just talking about this at the start of it. See, at the end of the day, when Dinakar was telling me about, how I have a sales focus. So I was telling him, see, at the end of the day, whatever business you're in, right, you're eventually going to need to sell. I mean, if you're the founder, you need to have buyers. Okay, you need to make money. And any investor will also ask you, do you have paying customers? If you have paying customers, how many are there? How big is that market? Or the target segment? How? Okay, we always say that startups need to be solving a problem. And if you find the problem and you articulate the problem and you have a solution, you're sorted. And I think that's not the end of the story. That's only half the story, because it's not just you. There is a problem and you find a solution for it. You need to find how many people have that problem. Okay. Can you reach all those people? And while solving the problem for so many people, can you make money? Okay. Because that is what is really, really important from a startup perspective. Okay. So the thing is, if you are a startup and you want to grow, so there is a business that you're doing, right? The business, it's a commercial venture. You're not doing charity. So that's where the business is. So the business is all about making money, making an impact, growing, being beneficial, you're serving a purpose for your audience, and you're making money for yourself, and you're strengthening it for your ecosystem around you. So there is a business. That business will grow. Okay, it will grow if you understand, how to make it grow. It will grow when more people will buy. Okay, more people will buy means you are building a very strong brand. If you know and understand why people are buying, you understand their behavior, you understand the behavior of the audience, you understand the behavior of your internal teams, you will be able to motivate them better, you'll be able to extract better work out of them, you'll be able to sell better. So you have an external stakeholders, whether they are your vendors, whether they are your customers, whether they are suppliers, whether they are financiers, whether they are investors. You understand the behavior of finances. For instance, investors would be getting, hundreds of pitch decks every week. What's going to make your pitch deck stand out? I mean, if your pitch deck is only numbers, you think that's what they're going to do. If there is no emotional connect, okay, at the end of the day, those investors who are sitting in front of you are also people, right? I mean, they have people, they are people like you and me, okay, only they have a lot of money also. Okay, so they're people like you and me, but they also have their biases. They also have their human emotions. They also, when they see a good story, they'll say, hey, you got a great story, now let's figure out a way to make you take that story everywhere else. Okay, otherwise you may have the best product and you'll never get funded. I wonder why the hell did I not get funded? I have a great product. Hey, maybe you never sold your story properly, So Absolutely. If you don't understand the behavior, if you don't understand, what branding is all about, okay, your business is not going to go very far.
Now Sagar, you had a question. Please go on.
Thanks, LK.
Thank you, LK. Sagar, go on, please.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Sagar Mogul, and I have two startups. One is I'm into recruitment consulting called as Potent to Set Recruitment Consulting, and the other one is Creatric Design Studio. We are into architectural designs. Sustainable architectural design consulting. That's what we are. Now, Sandeep, very quickly, I have tangentially a little different question. Now, we've heard of this phrase called as fake it till you make it, right? Now, it is connected to this. In principle, as a philosophy, I am not the one who is going to buy that statement at all. But we hear a lot of tall tales. Okay. What is your take on those, Sandeep?
Oh, fake it till you make it. Yeah. Okay. So see, what is going to happen is, again, when you fake it, what you're doing is you're building a fictional story. You don't really have the solution, or you're not really there, but you're, pretending you're there. So you're actually still making up a story. Okay. It's just that story is hollow. Okay. If somebody scratches the surface, you will get exposed. And the minute you lose credibility, it's all over. Okay. It's
authenticity is not there.
Yeah, the minute you lose credibility, it's game over. You'll probably, even then, if you bend over backwards and say sorry, and I will not do this, write it 100 times, nobody's going to believe you anyway. Okay, so that's the thing. So people who are faking it till they're making it, I mean, if they really make it quickly and they faked it for a short period of time, well, good luck to them. I would say that they're lucky. I don't think that's a strategy which is, repeatable and which should be actually adopted. But yeah, there are a lot of people who fake it till they make it. And some of them make it, most of them, don't. So let's be honest about that. I mean, how many times have you gone to somebody who was faking it, right? How many times have you gone back to that person who you knew was faking it? Never. Okay. So the minute the person gets exposed as this person was faking it, that's it. And word gets around. Word will get around.
I think more than that, as human beings, there is some kind of a sixth sense that makes us also see that the other person is faking, because there is no authenticity.
No, Dinakar, I'll be honest with you. Actually, we can't make out. Okay.
Really? Okay.
We can't make out. We think, we think that, I can see through, I have intuition. We don't. We can't make out. Okay. We will fall for it. We'll fall for this scam. What we can do is know that there is a tendency to fall for it. So therefore, we can strengthen our own internal decision-making process.
Correct.
Okay, so when you improve your decision-making process, then you will fall for such scams less.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but, now I 1 minute, Dinakar.
Yeah, sure.
Connected to this. See, Sandeep, now in that case, with your caption of behavioral brand and the other one, now we've got this celebrity Akshay, okay, selling Chyawanprash, and the immediate next ad he will be selling Zuban Kesari hai. Now he is building a story in both the cases, and both the brands are selling. Now, how does the behavior of the consumer here? How do you track this behavior? Chyawanprash, and the next second it is Vimal.
So the thing is, see, the consumer for now, it is possible that the person who's buying Chyawanprash is also the target audience for who's buying, I don't know, whatever, Navratan Tel. I think you're talking about the same.
No. Vimal. Zuban Kesari. It is entirely opposite of each other. One is for health, one is for deteriorating health.
Vimal is gutka. Vimal is gutka.
So here's the thing. Okay, as human beings, we are also a combination of all black and white. Okay, so we are also have our own gray areas. We are also at one. Nobody is either black or white. We all have gray areas. So at certain times you may want to eat Chyawanprash. At sometimes you will want to eat the gutka also. Okay, there is no law which says that if you're a Chyawanprash eater, you will never eat gutka. There is nothing like that. It is just that the target audience is different. Now, if the same gentleman is, the same brand ambassador is marketing Chyawanprash and also marketing gutka, if the brands themselves are able to tell that story in that, manner, and somebody has pointed out Vimal is not gutka, it's scented cardamom. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay,
that is called surrogate. That is called surrogate marketing.
Yeah. So the thing is, so in terms of what is being sold to that target audience, if that story is impactful and effective, I don't see any reason why the Chyawanprash company or the Vimal whatever company should not take the same person. Otherwise, it would mean that an actor whose profession is to act in multiple movies for multiple directors, but tomorrow if somebody will turn around and say, well, you did these type of roles, now you can't do those type of roles. So I mean, that's their profession. Models, influencers, it's their profession. They will do it. As far as if your question is whether the story is good, that the Chyawanprash story is conflicting with the Vimal story, doesn't matter. The sugar industry will lobby for all the sweeteners and everything and all, and the pharma industry will lobby for all the medicines, and they'll say, carry on having the sugar as long as we can sell our stuff. And there will be another, segment which says that please don't have both. So all three can coexist. There's nothing wrong in that. Just because one story is good for you and the other one is not, it doesn't mean that all three stories can't coexist. They will. They always will.
Thanks a lot, Sandeep. Now I think we go to LK. Did you have any follow-up question, or was it?
Yeah,
no, it's a different and a quick one. Sandeep, I saw in the subject also mentioned B2B services. So this has been always a challenge for me, myself, as well as I have seen other people facing challenge. How to tell story when you are doing B2B business, because you have so many competitors who are doing exactly same thing and offering the services to the same customer.
Yeah, so that's the thing. See, like I said, there are a lot of different types of stories. You don't have to have the same type. If you limit yourself to, I am providing services on, I don't know, maybe Python programming or Java programming, and there are like 500 people also who are doing it. Now, if you say it that way and the other people also say it that way, so now there is no differentiator, right? So you'll have to come up with a story. Okay, you'll have to probably say something like, maybe I have done it for these different types of companies and they have benefited. So you talk about your customer, how your customer benefited it. Okay. Or maybe you talk about your founder background, this is my background. This is where I come from. So I understand this segment better. So maybe there are, 500 people doing computer programming, but I understand it for the hotel industry, whatever. Or I understand it for the transportation segment. Maybe. Now, maybe there are 50 people in the transportation segment also. It doesn't matter. The TCS and the Infosys and the Wipro and the HCL and all those guys, they're doing just about any and every project. So now you'll say just because they're doing it, so we should not do it. No, you find a better way of doing it. Maybe they can't reach. Maybe they can't, it's unaffordable. Maybe they can't deliver on time. Maybe, there are so many other constraints. So these things are there. So you have to find what is it, we have talked about finding your USP. You have to find, your USP may not be in the offering, because the offering is the same. So the USP is in the how. How you do it differently, how you present it differently, that's the USP. So go find that USP.
Great. Thank you.
Super.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, Shailesh, would you like to please go on with your question, please?
Yeah. Hi. Good evening, everyone. So basically, we have a small startup in tech. And our experience is that unless there is some reference through your network, you don't get a seat in the meeting room of the prospective customer or the lead. And what you mentioned about 3Bs or creating a story is probably the subsequent step or second step. So what is your opinion about developing the network in which we will be able to share what we provide or what are our offerings and services? Because that is more important in today's world, especially for the startups. That is my opinion.
Yeah. So if I understand it correctly, your question is about getting the foot in the door first and getting people to listen to you, and then you can tell them the story. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the thing is, see, on its own, your story will not stand. It will only give you a lead which will come in. Okay. So let's say you are in a D2C business and you do a lot of storytelling online. Okay. You create stories, you do a lot of social media, and you do all of that. And you're in the D2C business. So you can just do a click and buy. And the more you promote, probably the more sales you'll get. Our B2B businesses are very different because nobody does a click and buy. At best you'll get a click and an email ID, or at best you'll get a click and probably a lead. That then depends on your process. So what is your sales process? How do you do your prospecting? How do you do your qualifying? How do you do your closure? Because if you are able to qualify your leads that are coming in, okay, so now that's your sales process. Because in B2B, yes, you need to have a story. When you do sit in front of the person, you will need to tell that story. The question is, how do you get him to get you in front? So maybe you put it up online, you put it up on LinkedIn, you put it up in, on a blog, you put it up at 10 different places, and, where they are, obviously, so wherever your target audience, if your target audience is only reading newspapers and magazines, then forget about online and please advertise in newspapers and magazines. Okay. So that's it. You find where your audience is, you find a way of reaching out to them, you get hold of their email ID, you do find databases, you scan through LinkedIn, and there are tools that will allow you to do that. You get all of that, you get your foot in the door, and when you get their email ID or, meet them someplace, that story should be ready. Because if they listen, if she listens to your story at that point in time, and you're after a CEO of a large company, and you suddenly see her at some networking event, and if you're ready with that story, and she will give you 20 seconds only, okay, what we call as the elevator pitch. So if you have that ready, if you give that, she'll probably say, okay, come over and meet. Okay, so that's an off chance, but you have to know where to go and hunt for your target. Okay. If your target is only through your networking, then you're limiting yourself. I'm not saying networking doesn't help. Of course it helps. It helps because humans are connecting again, it's the same human connect. So humans are connecting. So we will generally trust more. Okay. Like I said, people buy from people whom they believe they can trust. I mean, if you hear me talk, if you think that I am making sense, you'll probably trust me more. Okay. Rather than if you just read something which I've posted somewhere. Right. So the meeting factor helps, definitely, yes. But to get to that meeting factor, somebody should have read something somewhere. Okay. If I would not have posted something somewhere, Dinakar would never have invited me.
Yeah. So Sandeep, I think follow through question for whatever we discussed just now. Yeah. See, I think even if you are trying to reach out through some media, let us say you selected the right media, right channel to reach out to the potential customer. How would you really establish that kind of a tagline or a story which would excite that potential customer? How would you go about doing it?
I'm very glad you asked that question, because that is actually the biggest challenge that most people face. You see, it's the easiest thing to go out on social media and say, okay, I'll create a LinkedIn page, I've got a Facebook page, and I've got an Instagram handle, and I can post stuff. Question is, what are you posting? What are you posting? How are you posting it? What are you saying over there? Is it consistent? Is your messaging consistent? I mean, if I come online and I say the same things to you over and over again, then you will start to believe that, yeah, this guy talks like this, he believes this, he says this. Okay. If today I say something and tomorrow I say something else and day after tomorrow I say something else, and it's not forming a proper structure or a story, or that character is not being built, then that trustworthiness goes. Ye kabhi kuch bhi bolta hai, kabhi kuch aur bolta hai. It's like that. So it's like, you really don't know what the hell this guy is all about. You don't know what this company is doing. It's all over the place. It does this also, this also, forget it. I don't know. And I think they're defocused. Don't we say that? Mm-hmm. So you have to know what to say online. You have to have your branding story so well and your messaging so well. It also should come out. For instance, a stupid thing, the kind of fonts that you use, the kind of color scheme that you use. Every company actually should have brand guidelines internally. I mean, you see logos which are appearing in all different shades and colors. I'm a Rotarian, and we do work with Rotary, and some of you are Rotarians also. You will know that Rotary has certain specific colors only in which the logo can appear. It cannot be made in 3D. There are some very enterprising people and enterprising clubs who have tried to do a 3D of that Rotary wheel and put it somewhere around. You can't do that. Okay, there are brand guidelines. I mean, Coke will appear only in red or white or black, and that's it. If you have a purple colored Coke logo, you and I will both think it's fake. That's how strong it is.
That's true.
So the branding, so that's how people establish a brand. That's why a lookalike, can't come up.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. Now I would give it to Nina. She's also a storyteller. A storyteller asking a storyteller. Let's see.
She's the ultimate storyteller.
Nina, please go ahead.
Yes, and I'm so happy that
Nina, before you start, I submit. Okay, so now you can say.
I'm so happy that SIT is for stories, and so nice to see 51 people sitting here and thinking that wow, we should story tell, and that is really amazing. Thank you for choosing this topic, Sandeep. I was so happy to see, and Major was also thrilled to see this back in Singapore. And it's yes, stories are important. Stories, there's nothing without a story. There's nobody without a story.
Yeah.
No product, service, nothing exists without a story. Yeah. And the better we tell our story, the better it is for us. And for everybody, for the customers, for the buyers, for everybody. So in case anybody wants help in telling your story, we're always there.
Yeah, and it's so amazing. Actually, everybody has a story. Everybody has a unique story. It's just that they haven't found it. They haven't scratched their own surface to dig deep and find out. And that's why probably they need people like you and me to sit in front of them and say that, okay, tell me about yourself, and then we'll tell you your story.
Story, yes. And if you look at most of the presentations or most of the award ceremonies and things like that, companies come up with, I've seen Reliance, I've seen so many big companies come up with such boring PPTs where, nobody understands anything. Everybody goes back to their cell phones and, everybody switches off. But instead, there are some companies who really tell their story. Amazing. And those companies stand out.
Yeah, super.
We've got to learn to do that.
Now, would it be okay on my part to use both of you as expert resources for some of the startups who may be here, who may want to experiment in trying to build a story for themselves? Definitely. Would you be in a position to offer your help for those startups? Maybe a couple of them, so that we can develop some success stories, and others also will start then using those success stories as a platform to launch your storytelling.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not?
Super. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, LK, over to you. Again, you have one more question, I think.
Thank you. Dinakar, really thank you for this current suggestion. I think these two gentlemen and women can definitely help many startups on our platform to build their story or create a story actually, which will help them going forward. So coming back to my third question, Sandeep. So there are two questions actually. I'll quickly narrate. First one is about pivoting. So in startup generally, many people have to pivot.
Yeah.
So their offering changes. So they have already built the story for first offering for a longer period of time. And then suddenly they have to take a shift or navigate or turn into different direction. So probably they will have to change their story also. So any thoughts on that? I mean, guidelines on that, how to do in a brief way. And second question is about some of the startup, I think major we know, smaller I don't know yet, but might be facing the problem like WhatsApp had got a huge problem of the security, personal security. So maybe smaller startups also might be facing such challenges, which we don't know. So any suggestions for them if they got into some trouble, which is not like a their mistake or something, or it is not intentional, unintentionally something happened and market has created havoc, or their users are got panicked. In that case, how they should tell the story to recover back? Two questions.
Two very good questions. The pivot part is something. See, it's actually really very difficult, because if you've been telling one type of story, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and suddenly from a business perspective or a commercial perspective, you need to take a decision and pivot and start doing something else. I think the market, because this has happened so many times with so many different companies over the past very recent few years, I think people are, and the market is forgiving. Okay. We don't hold it too much that, oh, you used to do this and now you're doing this, what nonsense. It's okay. People know that, sometimes things change. COVID changed the situation drastically for a lot of people. A lot of people had to change their entire mode of business, and some people even went out of business. And so a lot of people pivoted at that time. But because the audience, the customer, understood why the pivot happened, they were able to say, okay, so this was why you did it. Okay, great. That makes sense. Okay. Now, maybe it's unfortunate, some people say, what nonsense, you pivoted. But as long as, so when you're pivoting, in fact, it's even more critical to have your story together. Because now you're going to have to go back to those same people who you said, I do A, and tell them now I'm doing B. Okay. So you have to build a damn good story to tell them why you went from A to B, the founder journey that we spoke about. Okay. So the founder journey that we spoke about, or a customer legacy that we spoke about. Earlier, GE used to do this. Now GE is doing this. Earlier, Netflix and Blockbuster Video are giving out those VHS and DVDs, and now they are all online streaming platforms. So, but there is a reason why they pivoted to that. There is a reason why they moved that. If that reason itself is made as a story, that's your USP. I didn't get stuck doing this. I was smart enough to pivot and leverage whatever I've done and go in another direction. And, well, here I am now on my new journey. Make a goddamn story out of it.
Great.
It's a great story, because if you succeed, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your second question was about in case there is, damage control to be done, right? If I understand that.
Correct.
Again, you have to have your branding team and, your social media team in place to figure out, I'll give you a simple example. This happened, I used to do live streaming for events, in another life. So one of the very large format events that we were doing live streaming for, they had sold out tickets, and they had some partner who also sold tickets, and as a result, the number of tickets were oversold. Okay. So there were a lot of people who had legitimate tickets, who had bought it more expensive, were actually, out of the hall and the auditorium and not able to attend the event. So a lot of those guys went online and started, what nonsense, useless program, useless organizers, generally that happens. When you want to abuse people, you will go online and say, when you want to thank people, probably you won't do it with as much passion. But when you're, want to abuse people, you will do it with a lot of passion. Okay. So unfortunately, that's also human behavior. That's how we are. We are so bad. Okay. So if I really like something, I may tell 4 people, but if I hate something, I'll tell 400 people, so it's like that. But so that's what it is. So they went online and did that. But fortunately, the social media team was in place, and, and of course there is a whole thing called online reputation management. And, some of the social media experts will also probably know about this. That is what, kicked into play, and they explained what happened, and they said, we are sorry and this is what happened, but, we'll accommodate and we'll do that. And some resolution could be met online. Okay. So you can do damage control, fortunately, but you have to be adept and fast at responding. You have to know that if this situation is there, I can't just let it lie. Okay. Because it will blow up even more in my face. I need to address it. Now the need to address it, and there's a bit of advice for people. If you ever end up in a situation like that, instead of saying that's a false story, that's a false story, that's a wrong story, you come up and give a better story. Don't try to say that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong. People will not. Just come up with a much better story, come up with a more different story. You may want to even admit your mistake. You may say, I'm sorry, this is what happened, but here we are and this is what it is. And everyone screws up and we're extremely sorry, and that's what it is. Instead of trying to deny, no, that never happened. No. It won't work. Doesn't really work, because we're human. We are forgiving. You say sorry, I'll say okay.
Great,
And in
great,
fact,
great
maybe you
advice.
become
Thank
you become favorite also because of your openness and honesty.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Guru Kiran, please go on with your introduce yourself and then please go on with your question.
Thank you so much for SIT for organizing this. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep, for a wonderful presentation on your work. My question here is, I am from Social Bytes Technologies Private Limited. We are a startup. We started just before COVID, and then we had a very bad time, but still we survived. And yes, your slide, the mentioning about the company legacy, data oriented, we have a beautiful story, and we are making a right pitch with the CEO kind of meetings. And the challenge is, our target audience is we are focusing on social sector. We develop IT solutions for them, and the challenge is trust building. Okay, it is taking a lot of time to convert a deal into converting a deal, basically that. So do you provide me some tips where we can improvise on that part? That will be really, I know it's very challenging, but
no, it's not.
We are trying.
No, it's not, Guru Kiran. It's not challenging. The answer is very simple. Okay, you gave the answer out already. Okay, so you probably didn't realize it. See, the thing is, you're finding it difficult to win their trust. You probably also know what is going to win their trust. Is a referral going to win their trust? Is you showing some track record going to win their trust? So what is going to win their trust? Because everyone, if let's say, if I'm looking out, I don't know, to buy a shirt, let's make it simple. If they have it in this color, in my size, in this material, I'll probably buy it. Okay? So if you check all those boxes, I'll be yes for it. And then we'll haggle on price and I'll maybe shop around for options. But if you know what I want, okay, if you know what your target audience wants, like this is my audience, they are, from the social sector. Typically, they have this trust challenge. Okay, so what should I do? I should learn how to build trust with these guys. So what builds trust with these guys? Is word of mouth important for them? So now I will network with all the people who are connected to them. Okay. So then I will, pitch to them. So instead of selling directly, I'll sell indirectly. Right. So you have to figure out what it is. I mean, it comes back to a typical sales question, which I always have and which I tell all my clients. You need to know what's the person's reason to buy. It's as simple as that. Why will somebody buy? Why will you buy why did you buy the latest phone? You must be having something cheaper, faster, better, looks nice, design, RAM, storage, camera, whatever. So you had some reason to buy, or maybe you just had a lot of money, or maybe your phone got stolen, whatever it is, you had a reason to buy. So you need to figure out what's your reason to buy. So your customer, when you're sitting in front of your customer, the only engagement and discussion that you have to have, and which is what I used to tell all my 100 sales guys, simple. You need to sit in front of the customer, in front of the prospect, to figure out what is going to make this guy buy from you. Is he going to buy on your spec? Is he going to buy because he likes you? Is he going to buy because of a demo? Is he going to buy because of a feature? Is he going to buy because of your track record? Is he going to buy because, the MD told him to buy? Is he going to buy because 4 other people told him? What is going to be? So that is the sales call.
Right.
The problem is we don't train our sales guys what to do in a sales call. We have salespeople. We assume they know how to sell. We give them the product. We give them the brochure. We give them product training. Say, "Jao, becho." But the thing is, what do you do in a sales call? What do you do in the first call? What do you do in the next call? What do you do thereafter? The customer says that. What else do you do? So how do you figure that out? So there is a scientific way. People always think that sales guys are born. You're a born salesman. That's all bullshit. Okay, sales is a disciplined process. Okay, if you have that disciplined process in place, you will succeed largely. Okay, not every fancy ass sales guy also sells everything. Okay, but they don't have the gift of the gab. That's bullshit. If you have a disciplined sales process, I've seen people who are like introverts being fantastic sales guys. And we have this myth that only extroverts are salespeople. If you're not an extrovert, I'm not a sales guy. What the hell do you mean by that? Don't you know how to meet somebody's requirement? Of course you do. You're a sales guy. Every goddamn parent is a sales guy. You're convincing the kid to eat this and do this and not do this and not do that. Every parent is a sales guy. So if you say, I'm not a sales guy. Are you a parent? Yeah, you're a sales guy. Okay, that's it. End of story.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, I think you are way of explaining also shows the amount of internalization you have done in the last 35 years.
Yeah,
Shows,
it sort of comes
shows-
out of me, sometimes even when I don't want to.
Shows authenticity. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Hemant,
Hemant, yeah, I
Hemant,
think
please
they-
go on.
yeah.
Hemant, please go on with your question, and then comes Vivek.
Yeah, good evening. I think it was a very interesting session. 3 points. One thing you mentioned about while creating a story, you understand that there are problems customers are facing, and then try to understand that most of the customers are facing that problem, and therefore you are coming to them with some solutions. Okay. So while you create the story, you are telling your story, and also you want to understand the customer pains. While you are trying to generalize the customer pains, you also will appreciate that every customer also has some uniqueness in their problem areas. So while you go make a story and go to them with the solution, many times you also cannot carry the solution and tell the story. So at what stage you also need to understand the specific concerns of the customer, so that you can sort of also trying to show that you're flexible and trying to customize, or so what is customer listening or precisely understanding their concern at what stage?
So while stories are impactful and effective, we need to also understand that just having the story itself does not guarantee you the deal. Okay, having the story will make you present your case a lot better. A slight correction in terms of what you said, what I had mentioned. I said that startups need to not only have a solution to their problem, but they need to find out that the people who have these problems, how many such people are there? Because I may be solving a problem for a very small, limited number of people. Okay, so even if I have the ability to scale, the target audience is very small. Okay, so scalability may not happen. So that's one of the challenges. So it's not only being able to solve a problem, it's that the fact that a lot of people have that problem. Okay, I'm not saying that we should want them to have that problem, but there is a large audience. Otherwise, why were you building a solution which only 4 people have a problem? Okay, so that's the thing. So you would want to build a solution for a lot of people who have a problem, because the investor will ask you that. Because why the investor is interested is because he wants to know, can you scale? It's a great, you have this solution, it solves this problem. But there are only, 600 people in the whole country who have this problem. So why should I fund you? But if you say, no, I have 600,000 people who have this problem, okay, I'll fund you. Now the next question is, can you reach those 600,000 people? Okay. Now then the third question will be, are you going to make money when you do it for those 600,000 people? So Flipkart, okay, maybe I'm not going to make money for a couple of years. Okay, fine, chalo, okay, that's okay. At least you can scale and reach. Okay, that itself is value. We say the valuation is not really the sales. Okay, so that's fine. So that's the thing. And coming to the other part is, yes, your sales process has to be so good that you will need to figure out that, okay, I will narrate this story when I get an opportunity. If I'm narrating it online, I'll have a plan to do it online. If I'm narrating it in person, then, when I get to meet the person, I'll narrate it. But then thereafter, when you start narrating the story, obviously the person will say, yes, I have 3 of the challenges that you named, but not the 4th. Okay, fair enough. So I will give you only 75% of the value. Possibly. I mean, that customer will be, fair to say that, I don't need all these features. Microsoft PowerPoint has got so many goddamn menus. How many do you use? Half of us don't even know. I mean, there are so many complex calculations in Excel, which even I don't use, but it's there.
Yeah.
So what do? So it's like that. You find what is relevant and you position that. Having a story is good because it makes you, come up with a pitch. It makes you come up with an opening line. It tells you, you can build on it. You can prove it. You can justify it. You do all the front and back of it. So that's good to have a story. But just having the story will not guarantee you the sale, because the sale will happen with the sales process, not with the sales story.
And Sandeep, just to add on to whatever Hemant was telling, I understood that his question was about when you go to a customer and tell your story, then the customer starts talking to you about what his problems are.
Yeah.
Now, how do you go about and listening to them and then adopting your story. I think that is quite implied, right? In the sense, there is no point in doing a monologue there. You need to listen.
That's the, you see, you can't tell your sales guy, ye kahani jaake sabko suna ke aao. You know? The guy goes there, makes a call, and he's like, no, you have to listen to my story. Otherwise, I've had it, my boss will kill me. Like, baitho aur suno. Nobody's going to do that. You know? There is a manner.
Particularly for the consulting assignments, Dinakar, what happens is, the moment the management also, at first they don't want to accept that there are problems, first of all. And because, and they said that this is, our industry or our company has got a unique problems, while they are very common problems. Okay. So
here's the thing, Hemant, you and I know that they are common problems, but the last thing we want to do is that, everybody's like this only. You are no different from them. You will not like it, you'll be out of the door.
And again, another thing is, Sandeep, what I understood is the story is mainly a trigger to get the customer to talk.
Naturally. See, you build a story, you live up to it, you do all of that, because see, the story will eventually resonate with that target audience of yours, and they will want to call you because if you've made the story, which is going to appeal to them, because that's the whole construct of the story, that it is going to appeal to your target audience. Now, if you've done that, they are not going to say, this is not for me, because you've made it for them.
Correct.
Okay, so they're going to want to call you and talk to you.
Correct.
That's the whole idea. I mean, they're not listen to your story and then want to call you, and then when you sit in front of them, they'll say no. It's never happened.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think one thing I liked is the most important thing is you yourself to be very clear about what the story is. As you rightly said, that many times you yourself tell different stories. That gives a very bad impression to the customer that you yourselves are not consistent. So I think what Dinakar was suggesting is maybe your support in this area can help some of the in clarifying their own story and consolidating the thought process. That is very important.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So you have to have your story, in place. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, Vivek, over to you.
Yeah, see, basically Dinakar and me are together.
Okay, cool.
Just a very short, quick this thing. See, today I realized that what we have been doing all these days is telling what and not how. So we need to, I need to really look at how.
Yeah.
But one more concern is that if you have certain abstract thing to tell, how do you really develop that story and connect it?
Yeah, good question. See, so the thing is, no matter how abstract is your what, okay, at the end of the day, the person sitting in front of you to whom you want to sell the story to is a human being. If you don't make it in an understandable manner for that person, you're lost anyway. Now, you may have the best and most badass tech, but if you are going to explain that in a tech way, nobody's going to get it. So if you're going to say, my remote control for this fancy TV has got 58 buttons, I'll say, yaar, main kya karunga usko? Now you have to explain. Okay, this one button is for Netflix and one button is for this. You don't have to scroll through the goddamn menu. Now that I understand. Okay, so if you write Netflix on it and Prime Video on it and switch between the two on it and something else on it, and therefore you have 58 buttons. So tell me that, na. Don't tell me you're great tech and putting 58 buttons on the damn remote.
You hit the dot on the bullseye. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Vivek, I would like to add here, abstract, you mean multiple variety of offerings, right? So in that case, my take is like, when we are sitting in front of customer, we need to understand what area he is looking at. And we just focus on that kind of offering instead of telling so many things.
True.
So that will make it focused. Just a small point from my
side. Basically, it is not multiple products. When I said abstract, it's difficult for people to comprehend. Oh, excellent. But as Sandeep said, how am I going to apply it and how it is going to benefit?
I'll give you an answer in one sentence. If you apply that, probably everyone will benefit from that. See, we always talk about features. Okay, what we do, what is the feature, what is the thing? We don't buy features, we buy benefits. right? Now everyone knows this Panda. Okay, we don't buy features, buy very nice thing to say. How the goddamn hell do you convert this feature into benefit? This is one line. Okay, I have this feature. Okay, to you this means whatever. I have 58 buttons on the remote. To you it means that you don't have to figure out menus, buttons. You can just see it. You see the icon, you click it, and so you sell me what is important for me. So you may have all the offerings, you may have all the tech, you may have all the consulting, but you need to figure out, okay, what is that consulting going to do to the other guy? It's going to make your job faster. It's going to make it easier. It's going to make it cheaper. It's going to make it, less complicated. It's going to, you don't have to hire people. You just call me. If you had to hire people from my company, and we are 15 of us, we've got everyone has got 25 years of experience. So that many man years of experience, you goddamn can't afford it. So you just give me the same contract value, and you're done. I don't know, whatever it is, you have to figure out a way to tell that guy what makes sense to him, and in a way that he understands.
You gave the magic mantra.
Excellent.
Feature to
Excellent.
you, it means this benefit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. It was really awesome. Very, what should I say, exciting, energizing, inspiring session. So
Thank
now
you.
I would request everybody to just turn on your camera so we take a short screenshot of all of us visible here, and then let Amar talk about his impressions as he always does, and as a conclusion. Yeah, I'll just take a screenshot now, and then at this point we hand over. And yeah, once the screenshot is done, I would now request Amar to give his final words, and before we say goodbye. Amarji, you are the senior man and also somebody who can give your wisdom. Please go on. You are on mute, Amarji.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening to all, and good evening to my good colleague from Rotary, senior person. Always a pleasure to hear you, Sandeep, and to see you also. And you have the best features.
But it's of no meaning unless there is benefit.
And we are all getting the benefits.
So all SIT members need to focus what it says.
Yeah.
My best thing what Sandeep said was resonate with your customers. You need to resonate with your customers with trust, innovation, and a good product. These are the most important factors to make anything happen. Because what we do here is we showcase what we make, but in reality, we should continue with that. That is where your trust with the customer is there. Otherwise, people forget very soon what you want to do and what you want to sell. I think so. This was a very good lesson and a good session from Sandeep. We're looking forward for more such ideas, thoughts on marketing skills. A new era has come into place with AI taking a big leap. I think so. We need to understand this very seriously, how much impact it will make on what we are producing as startups. It is very difficult today for startups to be successful. They have their own issues. They have their own problems. And I think so, as SIT has built a very good platform to connect with all of us, I think so we should act together to make things happen for every SIT member. That's my best wishes to all.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And good night.